Namaste, friends. Namaste to all of you. Welcome to our Viniyoga Unplugged. Or Namaste to all of you for the 10th time. Today is 29th of October 2024. Let us begin with our invocation and continue our talk. Om Shuklam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये यस्य द्विरदवक्त्राद्याः पारिषद्याः परशतम् विघ्नन्ति सततम् विश्वक्सेनन्तमाश्रये ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवम् निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे पुण्डरीकासनासीनं पाण्डुराभ्रेन्दुसन्निभम् अखण्डबोधजनकम् हयग्रीवमुपास्महे गुरुभ्यस्तद्गुरुभ्यश्च नमो वाकमधीमहि वृणीमहे च तत्राद्यो दम्पती जगतां पति श्रीनगर्यां महापुर्यां ताम्रपर्ण्युत्तरे तटे श्रीतिन्त्रिणी मूलधाम्ने शाखाकोपाय मङ्गलम् नीलातुङ्गस्तनगिरितटे सुप्तमुद्बोध्य कृष्णम् पारार्थ्यं स्वं श्रुतिशतशिरः सिद्धमध्यापयन्ति स्वोच्छिष्टायां सजनि गलितया बलात्कृत्य भुङ्क्ते गोदातस्यै नम इदमिदं भूय एवास्तु भूयः जयतु जयतु नाथो न्यायतत्त्वप्रणेता जयतु जयतु योगी योगगुह्यप्रवक्ता जयतु जयतु साक्षात् तत्त्वदर्शी महर्षिः जयतु जयतु भक्तेर्मूलकन्दं मुनीन्द्रः स्वाधयन्निह सर्वेषां त्रय्यन्तार्थं सुदुर्ग्रहम् स्तोत्रायामास योगीन्द्रः तं वन्दे यामुनक्वयम् यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मा व्यामोहितस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्य कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि श्रीकृष्ण ब्रह्मतन्त्रोत्तमगुरुकरुणावप्तचक्राङ्कभाष्यम् वैराग्याचारवार्धौ वरदपदमुखे लक्ष्मणे न्यस्तभारम् श्रीवागीशात्ततुर्यं शठ रिपुयतिराड्वेदचूडार्यमूर्तिम् नोत्नं श्रीरङ्गनाथं कलिरिपुमनघं ब्रह्मतन्त्रं श्रयामः। श्रीमन्नूतनरङ्गनाथयतिराट् आप्तात्मविद्यालयम् श्रीमन्नूतनलक्ष्मणार्ययतिराट् सम्प्राप्ततुर्याश्रमम् श्रीवासेन्द्रकटाक्षसन्ततसुधा लक्ष्यात्मयोगाश्चितम् श्रीमन्नूतनवागधीशयमिनं भक्त्याश्रयामो गुरुम् श्रीकृष्णवागीशयतीश्वराभ्यां सम्प्राप्तचक्राङ्कणभाष्यसारम् श्रीनोत्नरङ्गेन्द्रयतौ समर्पितस्वं श्रीकृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमीडे विरोधे कार्तिके मासे शतताराकृतोदयम् योगाचार्यं कृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमहं भजे। शिष्यकं कृष्णमार्यस्य नाथवंशप्रदीपकम् कल्याणगुणरूपन्तं श्रीदेशिकन्नमाम्यहम् प्रशान्तपुरुषाकारं विनियोगप्रचारकम् विशेषवैदिकं सूरिं तन्देशिकं स्मराम्यहम्। लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मद् आचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। यस्त्यक्त्वा रूपमाद्यं प्रभवति जगतोऽनेकधानुग्रहाय प्रक्षीणक्लेशराशिर्विषमविषधरोऽनेकवक्त्रः सुभोगी सर्वज्ञानप्रसूतिर्भुजगपरिकरप्रीतये अस्य नित्यम् देवो हीशः स वो व्यात्सितविमलतनुर्योगदो योगयुक्तः योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं। श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। पातञ्जलमहाभाष्यच्चरकप्रतिसंस्कृतैः मनोवाक्कायदोषाणां हर्त्रे अहिपतये नमः। भाष्यकृत् सूत्रकृत् चापे निर्मलन्तं सुरूपिणं ध्यातारं श्रीपतेर्नित्यं पतञ्जलिं नमाम्यहम्। ॐ मणिभ्राजत्फणासहस्रविधृतविश्वम्भरामण्डलाय अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste, dear friends. Namaste, and welcome once again back to our monthly online Sanga of the wonderful Viniyoga tradition. My excuses for a little bit of delay this month. We are meeting toward the end of the month, not Usually we meet at the beginning, but somehow this month was not so simple. So, but here we are. So today we are going to start with what is called Shaucha, which is the first of the niyamas. In the last meeting, we concluded with the last of the yamas, and now it is time for us to move forward with the niyamas. And this is what we will start in the next set of meetings. We will discuss each of the niyamas. So Shaucha is presented as the first of the niyamas, and it is my personal opinion, and perhaps also from my experience in life, that this is the most significant um, part of the niyamas, and perhaps the most, let's say, fundamental one, uh, if not the most important. And the reason I say this is because for all the yamas as well as four of the niyamas, Patanjali offers only one sutra as a benefit. Whereas for the Shaucha, Patanjali is offering two sutras that talk about the benefits. And this is something that is of great significance. It's something of great significance. And it's very interesting because uh, somebody in the private chat is asking me if the little thing on the corner is a vacuum cleaner. And yes, it is. And I left it very intentionally because we are talking about Shaucha today. And I thought, well, that's symbolic decoration of an equipment that will also cleanse. So, yes, it is, my dear friend. And thank you for a nice reminder. So, now what I want to say is that Shaucha is a very important niyama. And niyamas are certain practices that we have to do to elevate our consciousness. Yamas are some restraints that we are doing, some things where we don't do something which is not doing the lower level or animal level behavior that we human beings sometimes do. That's why most of the yamas are restraints. Whereas niyamas are those that actually um, are actions that elevate our consciousness, that elevate our consciousness. So can you all hear me well? Because I'm getting some feedback that maybe, yeah, good. So Shaucha is often interpreted as cleanliness, but that's not really the way to interpret Shaucha. I would actually suggest the best definition of Shaucha is what we can call as purity. It's not just a physiological cleansing, but something that is much more refining or purifying. It refines our nature, it refines our body, it refines our mind, it refines our energy, etc. And that is why Shaucha is presented as the first of the niyamas, because Shaucha becomes the foundation for all the following niyamas. Just like ahimsa was the foundation of all the following yamas, Shaucha is the foundation for all the following niyamas. So, how to practice this Shaucha? How to address this question of purity? And this is where I would like to take this opportunity to share with you the different ways to practice Shaucha, and then come to the concept of what are the benefits of practicing Shaucha in the long term. So uh, kindly be patient with me. I have a very big list to share with you because I've been thinking about this topic very deeply myself. Now, what I want to, how I want to present this is I want to go through this presentation in terms of purity at different levels of our existence. For example, We have what we call the Annamaya, the Pranamaya, the Manomaya, the Vijnanamaya, as well as the Anandamaya. So we will go through how Shaucha can be practiced in each of these different dimensions. So when we talk about Shaucha at the physiological level, at the Annamaya level, we need to keep our body with a sense of not only personal hygiene, which is cleanliness. We keep the body clean, a personal hygiene like what we practice dinacharyas, like brushing our teeth, having a shower, etc. But actually, we practice the concept of making the body pure of toxins, so that it is helping us to fulfill the role that the body has to fulfill. And this is where I know some of you in the West don't like this concept, but in Asian culture, it is considered absolutely essential to have a bath or a shower or wash your body twice a day at least. One time in the morning before you go and do your dharma. You must never do your dharma non-clean, non-pure. So before you do your dharma, like you go out to fulfill your dharma, like to work or to take care of your kids or to take care of your own dharma, like my job is a teacher. In the morning, we wake up, we are doing our personal practice or whatever, or even before the personal practice, we purify the body so that the toxins that we accumulate from the night time, we are eliminating, as well as the idea that we are cleansing the body so that it's clean for our dharma. So symbolically, we are saying, well, I'm cleansing my body in order to make sure that my dharma is starting in a clean way. So shower or have a bath before you start working. If you are not practicing this, you are not practicing yoga, my dear friends. So those of you who don't like showering every day, I know some of you climate warriors think that you should shower only once in 6 months. It's up to you. You are not really practicing yoga. You are practicing roga, disease. The second time to shower is when we fulfill our dharma and come back home. What we do immediately is to have a bath again to wash off symbolically all these toxins that we accumulate during our fulfilling of our dharma. Please remember, my dear friends, water has a very cleansing effect, and that is why we use water to purify things, to cleanse things. And once we purify or cleanse things, we are decorating or anointing our body with auspicious marks like what I'm wearing on the forehead in Indian culture. We do that so that we say that we are dedicating this body to the divine purpose, which is our dharma. So this is one of the ways in which we are practicing Shaucha at the Annamaya. So please remember, my dear friends, Patanjali is actually asking you to shower twice a day. It's not just me. Was very important culture in the old days. In all traditions, even in the Abrahamical religions, they would talk about the concept of being ritually clean. And this involved that you had to have water bath or water wash before you did your rituals. And this was every day almost. The second way to practice Shaucha at the Annamaya level is through what we eat. Eating very healthy and nutritious food, we can say, cleans our body, but eating food that is not only nutritious, but also healthy, but more importantly, that which is blessed. We have two procedures in our tradition. One is called Naivedya and the other is called Pariseshana. We practice one of these or both of these in order to bless the food. Normally, when we cook the food, once we cook the food, we are practicing a ritual called Naivedya, where we are offering this food to the divine so that the divine can take away the spiritual toxins of the food. Then we take what is left over. And then once we have the food on our plate, we are practicing something called parisheshana, which is cleansing the food from our plate and having an bhavana that this food is not for our delicious consumption, but actually for the purpose of nourishing our body so that it can help us fulfill our dharma that we have been given by the divine. So, not only don't focus on only clean food, but focus on clean, nutritious, as well as blessed food. Try to bless your food in your own way, very simple way, to bless it before you eat. And if you need to learn a proper way, reach out to your teachers to ask for proper ways to bless the food and eat healthy. And this is very important. Eating junk food is not considered shaucha, and eating also food that has a lot of blood, like meat, different kinds of meat, is considered also not clean, because blood is the way karma is transferred. That is one of the reasons why in the ancient time people were asked to be vegetarian. It was not because of ahimsa, because plant also has a life. So if you take a plant's life, that is also himsa. But it was not for that reason. It was more because karma is passed on through blood. So toxic karma will be passed on if we consume food that has blood. So this is another dimension that if you want, you can consider. Now, slowly we will move on to the pranamaya, the energetic dimension. Shaucha to be practiced in the energetic dimension as well. And this is where we need to clear or cleanse the environment where we are living so that there is as pure energy every day. And this is where, my dear friends, a simple thing like a lighting of a lamp or of an incense or a combination of both was a culture that was practiced in India. Every day in India, in traditional times, and of course, I know it in other Asian cultures as well, they would light a lamp or an incense in the altar so that it cleanses the energy, because the other element that is capable of cleansing is fire. That's why dark energies will never be attracted to things like fire or light. That's why they are afraid of that. And that's why they're called dark energies, because they come in the dark and there is absence of light, absence of fire. So that's why a lamp or an incense was lit and dedicated to the divine in every household. Again, at least twice a day, once after your morning shower and once after your evening shower, so that you are also clean when you are lighting the lamp. So, this is another way in which you can practice shaucha at the pranamaya. Another way to practice shaucha, the pranamaya, is the object like what we call spateka mani, which in English we call crystals. Some crystals have very cleansing energies. There are some crystals that can take away the dark energies. There are some crystals which are cleansing the other crystals. There are some crystals which are cleansing some of our emotions and traumas and things like that. So in Ayurveda as well as in the Vedic tradition, the use of crystals and jewels are actually considered very, very important. That's why if you look at many Indian gods and goddesses, you will see them wearing very auspicious crystals or jewels as part of the energetic cleansing. That's one part of the reason. There are other reasons as well, but this is one part of this as well. So if you are somebody who believes in this concept of crystals, that is another thing that you can consider. However, again, you don't just buy and keep it as a decoration. You need to put through it a certain procedure so that the crystal is also cleansed from its source, as well as it is consecrated with proper procedures and proper energy so that it functions its dharma in the appropriate way. Now, the greatest crystals that we can have, which is not necessarily something you can buy from the shop or something, are two essential things that are always accessible to us: sunshine and moonshine. Spending time under the sun, spending time in the moonlight, or allowing sunlight to come to your home, allowing moonlight to come to your home. That's another way to cleanse the energy, because these two forces have great power to also bring beautiful, auspicious energies. That's why in India we honored the sun and the moon so much, because they have that capacity to cleanse the energy. That's why even the nadis were named after sun, moon, and fire. These are all three elements that are very important to cleanse our system. That's why Nadi Shodhana Pranayama is called Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, because we are breathing through the sun and the moon nostrils to cleanse. The same word Shuddhi, which is the same meaning as Shaucha. Now, there's another way in which we can cleanse our energy of our home, of our room, etc., which is to declutter. In modern society, we have the tendency to accumulate lots and lots and lots and lots of things. Now, the moment you do that, then you forget about what things you need and what things you don't need. There has been studies that have been done where they actually say that we use only about 20 to 25% of the things in our wardrobe. Imagine, that means 75 to 80% of the clothes that we have, we hardly use. So why have it? The more objects we accumulate, the more toxins and the more dense energy we will accumulate. So declutter or try to move it. Try to move it. That's what I try to practice when I accumulate some new clothes. I always give away an equal amount of older clothes to some poorer people, or you can choose charities. I prefer to give directly to some poorer people. We have a lot of them in Asia, so I can very easily access them and I can just give it away. So move dense objects. So if you don't want to give away, rearrange your objects in your room. You will see that the energy will change. Try that. Try that. And the last thing I want to say about Shaucha in the Pranamaya, this is something very essential, my dear friends, is stay away from toxic relationships. Because if you are in a toxic relationship, you will have toxic energy in the household. This toxic relationship could be between two partners who are in a romantic couple relationship. They could be very toxic relationship, or it could be with other extended family members like parents or brothers or sisters, or with friends, etc. So this is something we'll come back to again in the Manomaya as well. But essentially, the energy that is toxic is created from also toxic relationships. So you need to run away as far as possible from toxic relationship. And if even though you think, oh, it's so difficult, oh, it's so hard, the more you stay, the more dense that energy will become. And remember, dark energy is very dense, And the more dense it becomes, the more difficult it is to push away. So the longer you stay in a toxic relationship, the harder it will be for you to move away from that. So take early steps, especially in toxic relationships, rather than wait for it to grow and grow, and then it will be completely suffocate everybody that is involved, and it could become violent and dangerous as well, because toxic energy is dense, and as you know, dense objects are much more difficult to move than lighter objects. You can move water very easily, but you cannot move a mountain. It's too dense. So don't let your toxic relationship to become a mountain of toxic energy, because then you will not actually be able to do it, and you will give up and you will suffocate and you will pay the price. Now we come to Manomaya, Shaucha in the Manomaya. This is where the having pure uh, thoughts in our mind comes. This is where we are moving away from thoughts that are perverted. Thoughts, thoughts that are perverted does not only mean sexual perversion, my dear friends, but it also means thoughts like being a victim. Oh, poor me, poor me, poor me is a perverted thought. It's a toxic thought. Oh, I'm so bad, I'm so bad, I'm not good enough. Oh, I expected this, it didn't happen this way. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This victim mentality is a form of perversion of modern society, and it is certainly created by the left leaning political ideologies, because they want us to be weak, and that is what we have to come out of. And Patanjali gives us the opposite. Rather than promote this kind of ideas, go to the opposite side. Start practicing attitudes like Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha, which is what we started this year with, attitudes which are much more appropriate. Friendliness towards those who are happy in Sukha. Compassion, Karuna towards those who are in Dukkha. Upeksha, appreciation towards those that are doing noble things. And non-judgmentalism, what we call upeksha, which is non-judgmentalism. Appreciation was mudita. So practicing non-judgmentalism to those who appear to be doing bad things. So just stay away. Stay away from toxic circumstances, which, whether it's victimhood or gossip, is another one. Gossip is something which is very, very perverted and toxic. Of course, sexual perversion, sensual perversion, like gluttony, eating too much, looking at even food as if it's a sensual pleasure. Like even in Instagram, one of the tags is food pornography is a tag. I mean, we're even making those kind of things. That is perversion. Staying away from lying, manipulation, and this is where my favorite topic comes. Stay away from those who are polite. That is not healthy for you. Politeness is a disease, especially if it's not aligned with Satyam. And there are cultures which are polite by habit. Those are the worst people you should avoid, and you should be as far away as possible from that, because politeness is not purity. It is not purity. Purity actually is more aligned to Satyam. So even if you are honest, there is, even if you're impolite, you're angry and you show your anger, that's pure. That's okay. Like an animal, when it's angry, it shows it's angry. An animal is not showing politeness, saying, oh, I'm so sorry that I am angry at this moment. No, it's just barking at you. The dog barks at you, and 2 minutes later, it's friendly again. So stay away from lies, manipulation, all these kind of things. And a very easy way to do that is take breaks from social media. That's a very easy way to start practicing Shaucha. Stay away from the toxicity of social media. This is a very, very easy way to practice SAUCA. Now, slowly, these are ways in which we can practice Shaucha in the Manomaya. It's not difficult, my dear friends, but it's not easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but I also don't want to say it's difficult. I have practiced this myself and I continue to try my best to practice this, even though it's not difficult, but it's not easy that it'll automatically happen. We need to put some effort. That's what I'm trying to say here. Another domain of Shaucha is at the Vijnanamaya, the level of our emotional level. And here is very, very important that we deal with emotions. Now, the part of the problem with our emotions is we develop we develop an attachment to certain emotions, which is good we attach, or which is angry we attach. People often underestimate how much more we are attached to negative emotion than positive emotions. People talk about trauma for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years even. They don't talk about, good things for that long. India wins the World Cup in cricket earlier this year, then they are celebrated for 1 week, and then after that it's forgotten. Whereas India lose the World Cup in cricket, that's talked about for years and years and years. This is the problem. We get attached to emotions. Now, I don't want to say that we are only attached to negative emotions. We are certainly attached more to negative emotions. But we are also attached to positive emotions. And the problem with that is not the emotion itself, it's the word attachment. It's the problem is the word attachment. Now, there's a reason why I wear this white shirt, not because I want to show you that I am pure. I am certainly not pure by any circumstances, but I want to use this as an example at this very moment. Now, I don't know for how many of you this happens, but for me, every time I wear the white shirt and I eat something, I drop something on my white shirt. It never happens when I wear a black shirt or a blue shirt or a purple shirt or a red shirt. It never, never happens. But every time I wear a white shirt, it happens. So that's why my practice nowadays is not to wear a white shirt when eating. When I wear white and then when I try to go to eat, I either wear something on top of it or I change my shirt. Now, the reason I'm saying that is when a drop falls on the shirt, it's sticky. Like tomato sauce falls on the shirt, it's sticky. It gets attached to the shirt. That's the problem with emotion as well. Emotions get attached. We get attached to emotions. Now, whether it's tomato sauce, which can be, let's say, good thing, or it's crow shit. In India, we have a lot of crows in the temples and they fly and they drop some shit on your shirt. Now, whether it's crow shit or tomato sauce, it still leaves a stain. So whether it's something good or something bad, it gets attached. That's the problem with emotion. Whether it's a good emotion or a bad emotion, an emotion is meant for a experience of the moment, and then we have to let go so that there is a clean space for the next experience. So that's where I told you that the problem is not with a positive emotion or a negative emotion. The problem is with the attachment to a certain emotion, be it positive or negative. And that is where in the Shaucha of the Vijnanamaya, we need to practice what I would call connection instead of attachment. Every emotional experience you have, experience it, stay connected with it for that moment, but let go so that you are available in a clean way for the next moment, so that each experience is not biased by the previous experience. This is very hard, my dear friends. This is very hard. And the more and more deeper we go in the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, the more harder the practices of Shaucha become. This is what we call being in the present moment. Patanjali uses the word atha, be in the moment now. So that's how we practice Shaucha in the Vijnanamaya. Don't get attached to emotion, experience it and move on. Emotion do not define who you are forever. It's a temporary experience. Now, slowly we go to the last domain, which is what we call the Anandamaya, our spiritual domain. And the way to practice Shaucha in this is to use ourselves for the purpose it was meant for. So there's no adulteration in its use. So our Purusha has been manifested in this body for a dharma. So the way to practice Shaucha is stay close to your dharma, stay connected to your dharma. And the more you practice your dharma, the more you are going to be clean. The more you are going to be pure. The more you deviate from your dharma, the more impure we will become, because Purusha gets adulterated by something else, which is the projection of our mind of what we are, what we should do, or what we are, what we think we should do. Actually, what we think we should do is not really what we are meant to do. So that's precisely why we have to focus on our dharma. Now, to illustrate the point, I use this cup to drink water or coffee. It's meant for consumption of a beverage, but I can also use it to smash somebody's head. Now, just because I can, that doesn't mean that that's the purpose of that cup. So the same way, just because we can do some things, that's not the reason or the purpose for which our Purusha has manifested. So finding our dharma and staying with our dharma, fulfilling our dharma, is the way to practice Shaucha in the Anandamaya. This is one of the ways. And the other way, of course, is if you are a believer, connect to the divine, because the divine is the most pure energy in this world. And the more we are connected to the divine, the more pure we will become. And that is where devotion, bhakti, and prayer, all those forms of practices can help us practice Shaucha at the Anandamaya. Prayer is a great form, uh, forgiveness, uh, uh, acts of bhakti, like doing rituals, all these, if you are a believer in the divine. And if you're not a believer in the divine, that's fine. Practice dharma, practice your dharma. So these are some of the ways in which we can practice Shaucha, my dear friends, at the different levels. I'm sure I would have forgotten some other ways. I'm not saying these are the only ways, but these are some of the ways that I've been able to think of, and this is what I draw from my own personal life experiences, what I am doing to share with you, and this is what I hope will be useful for you also. And the reason we spend so much time is because Yama and Niyama are not just some words that are in Yoga Sutra that has no value. We spend so much time practicing asana and pranayama, but we are not practicing the yamas or niyamas, whereas it should be the reverse. Yama and niyama are 24-hour practices. Asana is pranayama is only for a short time in the day. We cannot practice asana or pranayama throughout the day, whereas yama and niyama is 24/7. Of course, not 24/7, but as long as we are awake. So maybe 16/7 rather than 24/7 if you put 8 hours to sleep. Now, what Patanjali is saying, when we practice Shaucha long term, he gives us two sutras for this. Shauchate swanga jugupsa paraihi asamsarkaha. That's a very, very apparently, it looks like a negative way, because what Patanjali is saying is when you practice Shaucha, you get disgusted with your own body. You get disgusted with your own body. It should not be taken, what do you call, in a literal way. It's more symbolic or metaphoric. What it means is when you realize that when you start practicing Shaucha, you realize that you have been given this body because you have not yet been liberated from the karma that we have accumulated in the past. So that means we are not yet pure. So we get a sense of desperation. Okay, I want to get clean. Imagine if somehow some toxin falls on you, like a crow shit falls on you, you immediately want to go and wash because you find that disgusting, right? So the same way, when you realize that you are born again because you have not yet liberated yourself, then you become a bit like frustrated with this toxic body because karma has stuck so much in the body. And if that is the case with your own body, what about the other's body? And there's two dimensions to that. Because when you are in contact with other bodies, you take their karma and you give them your karma. So that's why there is a transference of karma that happens when we are in contact with others. So that's why they say, well, you kind of also try to stay away from others' bodies, which does not mean lack of contact. It means you will not touch everybody. You will only accept those karma you are willing to exchange with. And this is very important, my dear friends. So it should not be taken literally. Sutras were technical texts. They are not meant to be taken literally. You are not going to be disgusted with somebody's body or your body. It's a metaphoric way of saying, well, you'll be very careful who you come in contact with. But that's not the only thing. There is not the only thing. But what Patanjali says, there's a whole range of benefits that come with that. Shaucha. The second sutra, he says, Sattva Shuddhi Saumanasya Aikagriya Indriyajaya Atma Darshana Yogyatwani Cha. And cha means and. You will also get the following benefits. Sattva Shuddhi, your mind will become pure. Your mind will become very clean. That means there will be no more perverse thoughts, no more bad thoughts, no more victimization and things like that. A lot of people ask me why I'm always so looking so happy. Don't I have any problems in life? I've got huge problems. But every time I wear my mark in the morning after my shower, I remind myself, well, this is such a gift. God has given me this gift. Let me take care of this. God has given me the chance to do this dharma. That's a blessing. So all the negative things I let go because I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on what is positive or what is helpful or useful. That is what is called sattva shuddhi. And that sattva shuddhi will lead to saumanasya. pleasant mind. Mind is pleasant. Mind is not unpleasant. That means you're not in a bad mood. You're not in a victim role. You're not gossiping. You're not, all that you try to stay away from. Your mind becomes more positive, much more joyful, much more pleasant. Saumanasya is deriving from Sumanasya, Saumanasya. And only a pleasant mind, a mind at ease, we can call a mind at ease. Daurmanasya is mind at unease. Saumanasya, a mind at ease, that's the only mind that can focus. Ekagriya, it can focus. A disturbed mind, a mind that is unpleasant, cannot focus. Try that. Try to meditate when you have bad news. You will never be able to meditate because you will be running here and there when there is some bad news. You will be going agitated, you will be going crazy. So Saumanasya leads to Aikagriya, which means the capacity for you to have a one-pointed focus. That leads to what is called Indriya Jaya, mastery of the senses, because the one-pointed mind will tell the sense, hey, I want you to focus on what you are meant to focus on, not all the objects that are around you. So the mind leads the senses, and therefore it becomes the master. The senses are mastered. When the mind leads the senses, mind is the master. When senses lead the mind, the senses are the master. What is preferable is mind is the master of the senses and Purusha is the master of the mind. And only when the senses are in control, Atma Darshana Yogyatwani cha. Atma Darshana Yogyatva. Atma Darshana Yogyatva means the capacity for self-realization. You cannot have self-realization when your mind and senses are agitated, distracted. It is only possible when the senses are under control, your mind is able to focus, and that is when you have the eligibility. And remember, Patanjali is using the word you become eligible for. He doesn't say you will become self-realized. For that, some more efforts are needed. Otherwise, the Ashtanga Yoga will not be necessary. Only Shaucha is enough. But Shaucha gives you the eligibility. And that is where, my dear friends, purity, Shaucha is so important. Shaucha is so important. That's why all these practices I told you, start to do that. Not in the sense of a ritual or a compulsion, but start to do it with a feeling. Don't shower twice a day because I told you to do so, but shower because you have the bhavana that you are cleansing yourself before your dharma and you're cleansing yourself after your dharma. Start eating healthy, nourishing food, not because I tell you to do so, but because you want to clean your body of physiological toxins. Start having that bhavana. Start moving away from toxic relationships, not because I told you so, but because that will clean your energy. Feel, believe in it. Because it has to come from within you. Because remember, Shaucha is a niyama, which is an act that you have to do to elevate your consciousness. If you do just because somebody tells you to do so, that's not coming from the right place. So these are some of the ideas that I want to share with you about Shaucha, my dear friends. And I sincerely hope that it has been of great value to you. We will meet next month and talk about Santosha next time. We will conclude today with a small chant. Thank you for being here, my dear friends. Let's make a small chant to conclude. Om Om Tachayyoravrimahe Gatai Yajnaya Gatai Yajnapataye Daive Swasthirasthunah Swasthirmanushebhyah Ordhvanjhe Ghatu Bheshajam Shanno Astu Dvipade Shanchatushpade Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste, friends. Namaste. See you next time. Namaste.